I'm here at the rebranded Rocky Flats National Wildlife Refuge, and last night I drove down here to pick up this iPad that my father bought for me. Thanks, Dad. I love you. You're so kind to help me with this new life and not believe I've completely lost my marbles. But so I'm here at Rocky Flats. I'm going to get out and do a little video here and try to learn how to use this device and give people a good look at what this site is, and turn off the covered microphone with the camera, but I see I'm doing that already. So anyway, let's get out of the car and do it. So here we are. This is the area that is essentially the former northern border of Rocky Flats out here. I just turned off of Highway 28, that's out that way. And here we are, Rocky Flats National Wildlife Refuge. Trails, so green, windmills now. Downtown Denver, that way, about 20 miles. I don't know if you can see it through the haze, but you can see there's a rolling topography out here. I don't know if you can see, there is still a white building out there. That is a building that is on this DOE legacy site, and I wanted to explain to people a little bit about some of this. I hope you can see this map. So here we are. Come hiking, folks. No hiking in here. This site is closed to visitor access. This is the area where most of the former activities took place, and in all likelihood that will never be in any kind of shape to have any public use. As part of the consent agreement on Rocky Flats, there was never any additional sampling done outside of this legacy site area. There were a few soil and groundwater analyses done back when there was discussion about shutting down Rocky Flats. So these are studies that were done in the 80s and 90s that showed that there was very significant contamination down in these drainages off of Rocky Flats, because Rocky Flats had an incinerator, and every night they would burn their waste, the majority of which was plutonium containing waste. And because of the local airflow out here, the incinerators plume would be directed down these drainages, and there was a significant amount of particulate that would fall out as the air slowed down in these little drainages that you can see here. And so there are prior reports of very significant contamination in many of these areas where these trails are entering onto the now rebranded National Wildlife Refuge. So this has not been cleaned up, and it is really an abomination that this is now being used as a national wildlife refuge with public access. Back in the 90s, because of some friends that I have who worked out here surveying, I was told when they were doing some of this initial surveying, there were drums stored in Great Western Reservoir and in Standley Lake. That was cleaned up in the 90s, but that is the drinking water supply for many of these communities in Denver. And until the Reagan administration, if you bought a house in Denver, you received a real estate disclosure with your purchase, acknowledging that you had purchased a property that was downwind from a plutonium processing plant, and that in all likelihood your property was contaminated. So here is the story that they are telling you. Okay. You can stop the video and take a look. Go look at those references. Thousands of soil, water, air, and sediment samples were collected and analyzed by laboratories. Well, that's here. That's not here. That was never part of the agreement. So this is a hoax. This is not something that should be happening. There are activists locally who are trying to stop the opening of this site to the public because this is not a safe place to be. This is not a place to let your children play in the dirt. This is not a place to let your dog run off trail. This is a former plutonium processing facility and needs to be reminded. People need to be reminded that that is what this facility is, and that in anyone's lifetime living today, this will never change.